Hello fellow hunters and welcome to today's video. Today I continue with Way of the Hunter. In the last episode I unlocked the license for the area around Volkov's cabin. Now I'll focus a bit on the main story and the quests to unlock the last two areas in Nez Perce Valley, Dustin's and G's cabin. At the end of the video I'll recap my impressions of the game and talk about the ups and downs of Way of the Hunter in a quick review. So let's get started. To progress in the main story I had to harvest a female whitetail deer without damaging the heart. Like the earlier quests, this wasn't too difficult and done quickly. Afterwards I found the next chapter of the comic book in the Bear Den Ranch mailbox, which tells the backstory of River Knox. I don't want to spoiler anyone who may just started the game, so I'll show only a short segment. Overall I think the idea of a background story for the game is not that bad, but I honestly wouldn't miss it and the presentation isn't implemented in a really exciting way. But to easily earn a few credits, the system is okay in my opinion. On the porch it continues with a talk over the radio with April. The next job is to disarm bear traps that were placed by this guy Noah. Somehow they were all childhood friends and spent their vacations in the region if I remember correctly. Anyway, the whole thing is going its way with small missions and conversations over the radio. I don't want to show much more about it at this point, it's probably even less exciting to watch than while playing. Unlocking the next area seems to be much more interesting. Let's head out to Dustin's cabin. The first mission requires hunting a male Rocky Mountain elk with a shot from 100 meters or less. Since the beginning I always saw an elk by the river near the hunting tower at the shooting range. And because the quest does not require a specific trophy rating, it was pretty easy. Next mission please. It's about investigating a specific area. The marker on the map is once again straightforward and you don't have to search for long. There are some dead elk which seem to be snatched by a bear. And surprise surprise, the final mission is to hunt this animal. I'm not sure if the game spawns a specific bear for this quest. I shot the first black bear I came across in the target area to complete the job. This guy unfortunately turned around just before the shot, so it ended in a clean headshot. He is no longer usable as a trophy, but I didn't want to risk spooking the animal while finding a better position. Mission accomplished and done, that was more important. Now we continue with the last area of Nez Perce Valley, G's cabin. First of all I was supposed to hunt a black bighorn sheep. And again I'm not sure if there is a specific animal that spawns for the quest. I found several herds of bighorn sheep in the target area and indeed there was one animal with dark fur. At some point I need to check if there is always a black one even if the mission is not active anymore. That was a quite simple task. After that it became a bit more boring again. I had to collect flowers at 3 marked spots in the mountains. There were ladders everywhere to get on the various ledges. Not exciting but not difficult either. The final quest required harvesting a young mountain goat, which was surprisingly tricky. In the same area where I shot the bighorn sheep I found a herd of mountain goats pretty quickly. Unfortunately there was no young one around. Here it seems to be a question of luck again whether you have a matching animal in the area or not. As an alternative location I checked the lake next to the western camp. I had more luck there and a young mountain goat was quickly shot. Now all areas of this map are finally unlocked for hunting. Overall the quests were relatively easy, at least as long as no specific age or rating for the animals was required. The only mistake I made at the beginning was to start at the wrong cabin. I would recommend to do the missions from Rui's cabin last, then the chance is probably higher to find a 2-star moose faster without searching for hours. I used my earned credits to buy the remaining callers and a shotgun with higher capacity. Since I'm so far very happy with my cheap 300 Win Mag, I'm not sure if it would be worth it right now to buy one of the more expensive rifles. The caliber is completely fine for Nez Perce Valley, so I probably wait until I need a new rifle for longer distances or larger animals. If you have any weapon recommendations for me, feel free to leave me a comment below. Now we come to my quick review, based on my impressions of the game after playing about 40 hours. In general, I like Way of the Hunter quite a lot, even though it took me a while to get used to the rather slow pace. It runs very stable and I had no problems with game crashes or critical bugs so far. Judging graphics is always subjective, but I think the game looks decent and the open world offers impressive landscapes. In terms of hardware, it's also fair in my opinion. A solid mid-range system should deliver a good visual experience and a playable frame rate. The hunting itself is also something I like. Animals are rather shy and you have to move carefully to succeed. If you get into this, it can be a lot of fun. The same for tracking, it is solved in a good way for me. With Hunter Sense activated, it's easier to find tracks, but not too easy. I think the standard difficulty Adventurer is very balanced overall. Fortunately, there is no annoying leveling system with endless experience grind. The unlockable perks provide advantages, but it remains more or less realistic and does not end up completely overpowered. Selection of weapons and equipment isn't very extensive, but I think it's quite sufficient. A bow in the arsenal would be nice, but that might come in a future update. I really like that the developers avoided microtransactions and item packages, and that you can unlock everything with in-game currency. In terms of content, I would estimate that the currently available areas offer enough content for hundreds of hours. Beside the hunting and exploring of the large maps, there are many missions to complete. The developers seem to be quite active with updates, patches and improvements. So I hope they can keep the game interesting without just releasing new areas all the time. What I personally don't like so much is the time factor for spawn and growth of the animals. The herd management is basically not a bad idea, but it takes a very long time until animals reach a decent size. And to get really impressive trophies, it seems that you have to pay a lot of attention to the genetic pool of the herds to produce animals with high ratings. Right now I don't see any reason for adding trophies to the lodge, because I find at best animals with a 3-star rating every now and then. Trophy collections seem to be more of a late game thing, after exploring and unlocking all the areas. Until then, I feel the lodge is quite pointless since I don't spend much time there anyway. The animal AI's occasionally weird glitches are also a bit disturbing. Sometimes animals simply stop after a short run and eat peacefully, even though I just shot a member of the herd. This makes somehow not much sense. Fortunately, this happened quite rarely so far, but I always felt very disappointed and stuff like that should not happen in a such complex game. I had similar issues with ballistics and weapons. Even though a shot was a clean lung hit, some animals took a long run before they died. On the other hand, animals sometimes drop on the spot after being just hit in flesh and muscle. Overall, ballistics can be quite strange when I clearly see where a shot hits, and when I inspect the animal it shows a completely different hit pattern. All this also happens quite rarely, but it's still annoying and I hope the developers will find a solution to improve it. The quest system and the story is something I cannot judge in a negative way right now. Personally, I just have no preference for storytelling in simulation games, but I can't blame Way of the Hunter for that. A downside in my opinion is that all the information comes only from letters, comic books and conversations over the radio. I never saw the other characters and the whole presentation doesn't really convince me. At least that's my feeling during the first chapter. This makes an already not very exciting story even a bit more boring and obsolete for me. I would like to see a sandbox game mode where all this is disabled. To compensate for the lack of quests, the income from selling animals could be a bit increased to buy equipment. For me that would be a perfect scenario. But I understand that games today always need something to keep the player busy and stretch out the content, if I like it or not. In conclusion, I would say Way of the Hunter is a balanced game with ups and downs. It has a lot of potential if you can get used to the slow gameplay and some time sink. I really hope the developers keep up the support, then it can become a solid option in the long run. When I look at the player statistics on Steam, popularity collapsed after release and has not recovered even with updates in the new DLC area. It's ranked far behind the well-known competitors, although I personally don't care about how popular a game is or which one seems to be the best. Especially in a small niche like hunting, new games always have a hard time competing against big and established titles that offer more content. Every player has his preferences, and for me the positive aspects of Way of the Hunter clearly dominate. But there's also annoying stuff that should absolutely be fixed, and long-term support is crucial, or the game will lose any relevance more sooner than later. Since I'm a PC guy and have no idea what's going on in the console world right now, leave me a comment below if you know anything about the stats of Way of the Hunter on Xbox and PlayStation. Now we come to the end of the video. I'm going to spend some more time in Nez Perce Valley to complete more quests, explore the map and continue the story until it leads me to Transylvania. I'm not sure yet if there will be another video about Way of the Hunter until I arrive in the next area. And that's it for today. I hope my quick review was at least a little bit interesting or entertaining. For questions, tips and feedback, leave me a comment below. And if you enjoyed today's video, please leave me a like and subscribe. Thank you for your support.